Today on Monkey Life, an emergency operation for woolly monkey Pakita means more babies are out of the question.
I was going to say, I think a hysterectomy is probably our only choice, looking at that.
Newly arrived Capuchin Louie finds a perch and stays put.
We'd obviously prefer him to be acting a bit more like a Capuchin. Any of our other Capuchins would not be so calm with us being in here.
And a double blow for the chimp team with the loss of Sammy, one of the park's original chimps, and the sudden, unexpected passing of young adult Toprish. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
You just never know how it's going to work.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 25 different species. There's a new arrival at Erico's Capuchin Lodge. Late yesterday afternoon, the group of 12 increased by one when Louie, a 28-year-old male, arrived at the park. He was collected by Alison from a home in Leicestershire, was in poor condition, and missing part of his right arm.
We've popped him in a bedroom at the lodge, so he just went straight in there last night. He kind of climbed up to a shelf and he's curled up there, and he's spent most of the night there, clearly, and he hasn't moved from that spot this morning.
Louie had been living in a small cage in the kitchen of a house in Hinckley, a market town in Leicestershire. His owner had kept him for more than 20 years. When she passed away a few years ago, she left the Capuchin to her son. The mother had held a dangerous wild animals licence, allowing her to keep the Capuchin, but it had lapsed and not been renewed.
Good little man.
Once Alison had assessed Louie, she immediately alerted the team at Monkey World to prepare a bedroom suitable for a Capuchin with a serious disability.
So beautiful.
He is.
When Louie arrived, it was obvious he was underweight and lacking muscle tone, a consequence of poor living conditions. He managed to climb up to a platform in his new bedroom, but hasn't moved since.
Despite us putting extra branches and hosing up, he went in there last night and he's just kind of sat up on this platform, and he hasn't come down, he hasn't moved. So the only way that we can get food into him at the moment is by going in and giving him some food. We're not sure why he hasn't moved down. It could be because of his mobility. Obviously, he is missing an arm. He doesn't seem to recognise the hosing and the branches as something that he could be walking on. So he's just kind of sat in that platform in the corner. So I'm going to go and add a few extra bits to help him get around and, yeah, just see if we can get him out of his corner.
Katie has been keeping a close eye on Louie all morning, handing him food. He's curious as she starts adding extra ramps to help him manoeuvre his way around the bedroom.
We'd obviously prefer him to be acting a bit more like a Capuchin. Any of our other Capuchins would not be so calm with us being in here. For the meantime, it'll be good to help us kind of get to know him and get close to him.
Once Louie is confident enough to move around, the team can use the following days to assess him and his mobility. It'll help them decide which Capuchin group will be the best option for him to join when he's ready.
He hasn't been with other Capuchins for a long period of time, so it will be interesting to see what he makes of them. So we definitely need to assess his mobility and the fact that he hasn't really moved around his room much yet, because some of our enclosures have very large climbing frames. The forest enclosure here has some quite tall trees. So it's really going to depend a lot on his mobility as to where we can even consider putting him to begin with.
For now, it's all about earning Louie's trust.
Does that look like something you might want to get?
and building up his strength and stamina for what is going to be a very different life for the capuchin. At the Park's hospital, there's an emergency in progress. 22-year-old woolly monkey Pakita has been rushed across in need of rapid medical attention.
One of our older female woolly monkeys, Pakita, has had a rectal prolapse. So we've gotten the vet in, David's come in emergency style to have Pakita down and to repair the prolapse and then potentially take measures to prevent it from happening again. Now that that intestine wall is weakened, it could reoccur. It's a big concern for Pakita and for all of us.
The woolly monkey team managed to administer a pre-med before bringing her over, leaving the female a little drowsy.
Good girl.
Jeremy administers the full anaesthetic by hand. It's now a waiting game for the drug to take effect. As soon as Pakita's out for the count, the team spring into action. Vet David gives her a quick examination and immediately finds a mass in her uterus.
It's pretty solid.
It's a pretty solid lump of something.
This isn't normal.
She could be pregnant and starting to miscarry.
Do you think she's perhaps aborting?
Or aborting something, yeah.
Her genitalia are also full of edema, a buildup of fluid that causes the affected tissue to become swollen.
I think that's possibly the least of our worries, unfortunately.
There's a lot to consider before deciding on a course of action. David decides to X-ray Pakita's abdomen in the hope the image will provide crucial information.
Yes,
Yeah.
clearly not a fully formed fetus.
It isn't.
The X-ray reveals Pakita isn't pregnant, meaning the lump could be something sinister.
The lump is in the area where we might expect the reproductive tract to be, so we were wondering whether she had a baby in there, whether she was pregnant. The X-ray didn't show her as pregnant, but it showed that we had a lump in the reproductive tract. So.
The team are running out of options, and Pakita running out of time. It's a tough call for Alison and the team.
I think we have to open her up because otherwise leaving her, and yeah, everybody concur? I don't think we can leave her in the vain hope that she's passing something and we don't know.
To fully understand what's going on and treat the issue, Vet David will have to perform surgery.
Let's wait and see what David actually finds inside, because that's going to be key to it. But upside so far, the prolapse has slipped right back in. So that's a good start anyway, and she's stable on the anesthetic.
David gets to work, making an incision in Pakita's abdomen. As soon as he opens the woolly monkey up, it's clear something is very wrong.
So those are the ovaries? They don't look right.
I was going to say, I think a hysterectomy is probably our only choice,
Okay.
looking at that.
Pakita's uterus and ovaries are extremely enlarged. If she's going to survive, the only option is a full hysterectomy. It's a fairly straightforward operation, but the team can't be sure how Pakita will come through the ordeal. Woolly monkeys don't react well to stress. It takes David just 20 minutes to remove her entire reproductive system. It's placed in a container to be sent to a laboratory for analysis. David then gets to work stitching up the surgical wound, and once done, Pakita is transferred to the travel box to recover from the anaesthetic.
The decision was made to remove the entire reproductive tract. In a surgery, it's gone reasonably smoothly, reasonably well, and we're going to send the reproductive tract off to the laboratory, find out exactly what was wrong with it.
David is hopeful Pakita will make a full recovery, but unfortunately, the mum of 4 won't be able to have any more babies. While Pakita heads to recovery, there's been some cheering news over at the Golden-cheeked Gibbons. Female Alex has lived at the park for more than 20 years, but spent much of that time on her own, after having an arm amputated following an introduction that went wrong. She's been wary of new faces ever since. But when a male gibbon, Tito, recently lost his partner, Vieta, the primate care team decided to give Alex the opportunity to meet a new man. Much to their amazement, it seems to be working.
So we're really, really happy with how Alex and Tito are doing at the moment. There's no stress, you know, both of them are just going about their lives, which is great. So far, so good, and we really like the little baby steps that they're taking.
Today, Kat is refurbishing one of their outdoor enclosures to make it more suitable for Alex to move around before their first day outside together.
Oh, I think I need to get that in and bring it.
With only one arm, Alex can't brachiate as gibbons normally do when moving around, and needs plenty of extra hosing and branches.
Obviously, we've tried to make it as suitable for Alex as we can, but until we see her moving, we won't know whether there's any areas that don't really work for her. But that's okay, you know, we just make sure that she takes her time.
It's a big moment for Alex. She's with a new partner and having to negotiate a different enclosure. But with the pair getting on so well during their initial indoor introductions, Kat's hoping the experience outdoors will be positive too. Tito is first to take a look. He's a gentle male who was hand-reared at a French zoo after being orphaned at birth. To start with, Alex hangs back, checking everything out. Kat gives her some encouragement.
Good girl, come on in.
It does the trick. Alex begins tentatively exploring her new surroundings. Tito is the perfect gentleman, giving her time and space to get used to it all. Both gibbons seem at home in each other's company, even taking time out to groom each other. It's been a perfect day for the team.
To actually see Alex groom Tito and then sit there and allow Tito to groom her, it's a huge, huge thing for Alex to do. So for the whole team right now, it's huge seeing this. We really, really hope that it's going to continue and that they get to stay together for a good few years. Then that would just be fantastic for us all.
It's been 36 years since Monkey World's founder Jim Cronin set up the Dorset Sanctuary, aimed at rescuing chimpanzees illegally smuggled from the wild. 9 frightened youngsters were the first to arrive, all rescued from Spain, where they'd been used as beach photographers' props.
They're okay, but they're not in what I'd call good shape. But in comparison to what they were when they arrived, it's 100% better, mentally and physically. Well, in your case, perhaps not.
4 of the originals remain: Mickey, Buster, Cindy and Beth, who live in Bart's group and are well over 40 years old. There was a 5th, but age has now caught up with lovable, kind-hearted Sammy, one of the park's original bachelor boys, who's passed away.
We know that Sammy was at least like 43 years old, maybe older. And you could see that he had slowed down. Having said that, he was always sort of a happy individual and always prepared for a little sort of game of chase back and forth, always loving his food. You know, his diet was sort of a lifelong ambition to keep him maybe a bit portly because he was so food-focused, but at least not being too fat. And, you know, one of the nicest individuals you'd ever know, though. I mean, he was just sweet as could be.
Sammy and his contemporaries were victims of a cruel trade in chimps. Many had been ripped from the arms of their slaughtered mothers by hunters, then sold on and used as tourist attractions. The chimps suffered horrendous abuse, both physically and mentally.
It just has such far-reaching, catastrophic effects on so many chimpanzees in the wild, and seemingly Jim was one of the only people that sort of embraced that concept and that crystal ball, if you will, that if this trade continued, it was a real problem for chimpanzee populations. And yet at the time, nobody in the zoological world really cared. So that's why Monkey World was founded. You know, we've encountered so much trauma, abuse, neglect on a scale that's unheard of in these guys, and we try and turn it around and make it right. And sometimes we're successful and sometimes we're not.
In the 36 years since it opened, the park has rescued 79 chimpanzees, and Jim's vision has become a global operation. But affection for the original 9 chimps is ingrained deeply in every aspect of park life. From the outset, Sammy was a big, dopey-looking, kindly chimp loved by his companions, as well as staff and visitors alike. He loved his food and was so proficient at gathering it up, the care team had to keep an eye on his weight. He didn't worry about group politics, often sticking up for smaller chimps or just wanting to play. And when it came to throwing, he had the best aim in the park. 10 years after arriving, Sammy became one of the original members of the Bachelor Boys, set up because the mixed-sex chimp groups had become top-heavy with males. He was integral to its success and remained there for the rest of his life.
He's been with the boys from the beginning, and you know, his loss will be a significant one. You can say, oh, well, he isn't the alpha in charge of the group, so it won't make too much of a difference or whatever, but I would suggest to you it's even perhaps more profound because he was that senior statesman, the center and the rock, the base of the group. Everybody loves Sam. The chimps love Sam, and he was a fair and nice person.
But he did have some medical issues, including a large throat sac which needed constant monitoring. Following his death, a post-mortem revealed he had an aortic aneurysm, a bulge in the wall of the main artery. But the pathologist's final note was the most upsetting.
Sammy was covered in scars and lesions from head to toe from cigarette burns. And that was, again, just a very poignant reminder of what all of our guys go through, and it's still potentially happening out there today. Sammy was just one of them who survived the abuse, and perhaps that'll just give me more fire in my belly to try and help those like Sammy.
Sammy's loss is a major blow for the primate care team.
Nothing's ever really gonna fill that void with not having Sammy here. He was just a good person. Like, he didn't have a nasty side to him. He was 1 in a million, and yeah, it's just never going to be the same here.
Losing a big, lovable character like Sammy was devastating for the team. But because of the age of the original chimps, it's something they were prepared for. The next blow, however, was entirely unexpected.
Completely out of the blue, took us all by shock. Devastating, breathtaking. We lost a chimp that we had only rescued 4 years previous and was a young individual, estimated maybe 14 years old, and that was Toprish. It just completely stunned everybody.
Toprish was a member of Bart's group. During a particularly chilly period, a number of the troop caught a cold, and Toprish's was particularly nasty. The whole group were under close observation from the primate care staff, but one morning, in a matter of just a few hours, Toprish's condition deteriorated, and she passed away in one of the bedrooms.
She was gone. Just that quick. It was tragic, sad, unexpected, really hard for the primate care staff because she was gone. She was gone that fast. I think She was gone probably before she even touched the floor.
Alison's immediate concern was that Toprish had COVID, and the rest of the troop may be infected. When all the tests came back negative, it was a great relief for the team. A post-mortem later showed there was nothing they could have done.
It was just one of those things. She had a thromboembolism. That means it's like a blood clot that blocked the blood supply actually to both of her lungs.
Toprish arrived at the park in 2018. She'd been illegally stolen from the wild as a youngster and sold as a pet, before ending up at a zoo in Turkey. Before moving to Monkey World, she'd never lived with other adult chimps. At 9 years old, her integration to Bart's group took time. But she got there in the end, and quickly made her mark, rising up through the ranks to become one of Bart's favourite ladies.
She'd really found her place in the group, and actually, considering she was the newest member, she was quite up there. Like, a lot of the high-ranking ladies traditionally in that group, like Cindy and Beth, really didn't want to mess with Toprish. Huge blow for us, huge blow for the rest of the chimps. I mean, some of them obviously grieved more than others, and there were some like Buster and Mickey who definitely were happier because she really gave them pair a bit of a hard time. Absolute monster, but yeah, she was a big character.
But the ageing chimp groups are a fact of life at the park, and the work goes on. 2 big personalities have passed on, but 2 more chimps needing help have arrived. The chimp team have managed to integrate the 2 new arrivals from Argentina. Kangoo is now a member of Brian's group, while his mum Sasha has moved to Bart's, filling the space left by Toprish. Life at the park is constantly evolving, but it doesn't stop the teams or Alison becoming emotionally attached.
When you lose a friend of more than 30 years, it's harder to deal with, and Sammy was one of those. He was a good friend.
Next time on Monkey Life. Alison's at Twycross Zoo to collect an orphaned orangutan in need of a new home and a new family.
Sadly, for a young female orangutan named Cayenne, her mother passed away.
And Argentine chimp Kangoo heads into the large enclosure with his new group, and even begins to bond with powerful female Ash.